What was your "I'm dating a fucking idiot's" moment? We had a heated debate about whether or not dinosaurs were alive during the American Revolution. Her stance was that there's really no way to know. We couldn't possibly know because no one wanted to write about it. The biased news media didn't want to report on it. Everyone knows George Washington rode on a T-Rex and flew by pterodactyl. She said that the temperature in her house never changed, so she couldn't understand why she was always hot-cold. She had never taken the packaging off of the digital thermometer, so she was just looking at a sticker that said 72 degrees. I thought I had a blue dishwasher for 10 years. Nope. The people before us just never peeled the blue film off the front. It's black. My brother gave me his microwave that he got from when our aunt passed away. We thought it was just a poor quality microwave with the plastic delaminating over the buttons. It was the protective film. I still have that microwave today. In my early 20s, I started living with my boyfriend at the time. I got my period and he demanded to know what I had done with the egg. Folks, this 21-year-old man, whose mother was a nurse, who had a sister that had just given birth to twins, thought that human women laid an egg when they had their period. What do you think you just ate for breakfast? They put shrimp in my food to see if I am really allergic to seafood or just being dramatic. Anaphylaxis occurred, EpiPen deployed, ambulance trip. The hospital suggested I press charges. They never admitted it was the wrong thing to do. They never apologized. My mom also snuck cranberries into my food to test my allergy as a kid. Still doesn't see anything wrong with it. I posted this story once, and so many people shared similar stories. The worst one I've read on here was the Redditor's mom not listening about coconut allergy even then she knew about it. She had the twin girls overnight, out coconut oil in the allergic twins' hair. Kid died. Google had an April Fool's joke one year where if you lick your phone screen, you can actually taste the object of what's being displayed on the screen. Needless to say, she did it several times and said it didn't work. Google must have been confident about this one. Google's pictures of phone screens, holy crap, you guys, it really works. I took her out to dinner, gave her two options, an Italian restaurant or just like a regular restaurant where they served all kinds of stuff. She said she really hated Italian food, so we went to the regular restaurant, where she ordered a lasagna. I experienced a similar situation, except it was movie genres. My mom said she hates musicals. Her two favorite movies? Grease and Chicago. I have an ex-wife who pretends to be allergic to chocolate, spoiler alert, she isn't, and one year for my birthday we went out to eat with all my friends and family. I offered her some of my coconut shrimp, which she gladly accepted. For seconds later, she made a terrible RRUGGHHHHH sound and spat the chewed shrimp onto the table. As loud as she could, she said, "Was that coconut shrimp?" "Yes," I replied. "Coconut? Coconut?" She shouted, and was met with blank stares. "Coconut!" She hollered, trying very hard to embarrass me in front of everyone I know. Once the laughter died down, I asked her if she really thought there was cocoa in coconut. We're divorced now, thankfully. People that purposely try to embarrass their partner in front of others are the worst. They don't deserve to be in a relationship. An ex-friend of mine in college loved to talk about her allergies for attention. Her allergies were always the environmental kind that caused sneezing and whatever, until one day she decided to tell us all that she is allergic to coconut. Our other friend who waited tables at this local spot immediately called her out, was like, "No, you're not allergic to coconut. There is coconut in those fish tacos you eat like 3x a week. And coconut in the shots we just took at the bar." It was so embarrassing watching her try to walk it back. An ex dropped me off the first day at a job. He was late picking me up, and when I called 30 minutes after my closing shift to see what was up, he said it was because the car was stolen. I called to find another ride, so a friend came to get me instead. Homeby drove across the street to get a soda and walked home. He forgot the car. We saw it on the way back to the apartment. My entire family, not including Mom, did this exact thing. We all rode to the park and walked home. After lots of freaking out, Mama remembered we had ridden to the park. We were watching the movie 7EN, where each murder is tied to one of the 7 deadly sins. The first victim was found murdered after being force-fed to death, with the big reveal being when they found the sin written on the wall behind a fridge or something, I think. I will never forget the sound of this man's voice as they moved the fridge aside to reveal his sin, and he slowly started to realize which one it was. Ooh. Gluten. ETA, LOL, wow, did not expect this to blow up. Glad to see such a great memory made so many people smile. Also, while I'm at it, I love dry humor, but sadly this was not the case with my sweet, innocent dum-dum. This happened in 2008-2009, we're still friends and I'm still laughing about it to this day. This is the absolute funniest one in this thread, only because it's the only one that feels like a joke, LOL. Got in a big fight with my girlfriend at the time because I saw a bear crossing sign and thought it was worth pointing out. She called me an idiot because there was no way there were possibly bears in Michigan. I reminded her that we were going to the Sleeping Bear Dunes. That made us discuss if there were bears in our hometown, also in MI. I said yes. She said there couldn't possibly be bears in our hometown and I'm stupid for thinking that. We got in some ridiculous fight about how she can't date an idiot. A week later, a car accident happened less than a mile from her house where the car hit a bear. I sent her the news article, and that's when another fight started. I can't stand dumbass who try to act like everyone else is a dumbass. I've known people like that before and can never be friends with them. Please tell us about this second fight. ETA, RIP my notifications. Don't bother, she sounds unbearable. My ex would find a recipe online, not follow it, and blame the recipe for being shit. Things like subbing breadcrumbs with flour, adding pepper flakes in dishes that are not spicy. Those were the most disgusting Swedish meatballs I've ever had. Ah, you didn't the vegs. He kept littering. I really hate littering. The day he spit his gum out on the sidewalk of a zoo, I called him out on it. He says it will evaporate. I laughed and said, that's funny, but no, seriously, you should just use the trash can. He gave me a confused look. That's when I realized he was serious. He was so convinced that trash evaporates in the sun, we had a full-on debate about it. Well, plastic evaporates in the sun. It is photodegradable, it just takes 100,000 years. She had received an email from what appeared to be a spam Best Buy account. I told her over the phone to ignore it. Got annoyed and hung up on me. Deal with it yourself, I said. Bad move. Said she was charged $400 for a software she got when she bought her Mac. Ended up calling the number and downloaded a software to give the scammers access to her laptop to delete the software. Somehow they managed to get into her bank account and transferred money from one account to the other. They said while trying to refund her the $400, they accidentally refunded $9,000 instantly. They told her if she didn't want to go to jail, she had to go to Walmart and buy $9,000 worth of gift cards. I arrived home to her hysterically crying while still on the phone with the scammers. I jumped on the phone and knew she'd got. When I hung up on them, she gasped and thought she was going to jail. And people like that drive on the fucking roads. And vote. A lot of them. Standing in line at the checkout and a frazzled fellow comes bursting through the door. He's ranting about the IRS iTunes card scam and that he'd been taken. That's when I realized this was a coworker's husband. Had a boy try to convince me that he didn't need to use a condom because I couldn't get pregnant while he was taking antibiotics. Would have been the first time we got physical. I noped out when he would not tell me why he was taking them. I still think I dodged a bullet. Similar story, with a girl I'd been dating for about 3 months. I think I might be pregnant. Me, how? You're on the pill, right? I had started taking the pill, but missed a day, then missed 2 in a row, so just gave up and stopped taking them. And now my period is late. Me, why didn't you tell me? We could have gone back to using a condom. I didn't think I could get pregnant. Me, why would you think you couldn't get pregnant if we weren't using birth control? Because God doesn't give you more than you can handle, and I've already got 1 baby and am living with my mom, and I couldn't handle a second baby. I demanded she get a pregnancy test. It came back negative, and I broke up with her. Figured I'd gotten lucky in dodging 1 bullet and didn't see the need to keep trying my luck. She wouldn't have been someone I'd want involved in raising my child anyway, because of shit like the above. Yeah, this is why everyone needs contraception that they control. We watched Shrek and she didn't believe that the guy who voiced Shrek was the same guy who played Austin Powers because their accents aren't the same. I explained that it was the same actor doing different voices. She couldn't fathom it. When I told her that Austin Powers' voice wasn't the actor's real voice either, that was too much for her to handle. I came home and she was upset about a new story she watched earlier about a new method of execution being approved in, I forget where, like Ohio or something. She proceeded to explain the process, where when a person sits on the seat it automatically activates a grabber arm, which has a topical anesthetic applied to each prong to numb the area to make it totally painless before it twists their head off. There was more to it, but we got about 30 seconds into her explanation when it was clear this isn't a thing. I tried to reassure her of that, which led to an argument and her eventually sending me the video in question. This was a video from The Onion. This was clearly not real, and not even clever satire, it was just dumb. Even then I tried laughing it off and showing her where it was from and what they do, and she still persisted. It's the news, and they can't just make things up. I left her that week. I feel like The Onion and similar jokes are losing their place in the world. There are too many idiots around. College girlfriend who was not a fully functioning adult. Zero life skills. Got a flat tire while driving alone, stood by the car acting helpless until a guy stopped and offered to help. He changed it, but unbeknownst to her had set the parking brake. She gets in her car and it won't go anywhere because the parking brake was set. She runs out of the car and asks the guy, "My car won't go, did you put the wheel on backwards?" No shit, she actually told everybody about it. It's crazy how many parents can spend 18 years with a kid and not teach them anything. My parents always used to say being a parent isn't about taking care of a kid, it's about teaching a kid how to take care of themselves. God, I'm so thankful they taught me how to grocery shop, change a light bulb and do basic shit. When I mentioned that a particular restaurant made their own pickles and he firmly corrected me, informing me that pickles grow on bushes. In college, I dated this guy who was nice but kind of dumb. And he had some bizarre personal habits around the house, the worst of which was the fact that he only owned one towel and he rarely washed it, like once every couple months. It hung in his bathroom as stiff as sheet metal and as rough as a cat's tongue. So, for Christmas, I bought him 2 more bath towels, a hand towel, and several washcloths. When he opened it, he looked quietly at it for a second, like a goat looking at a new fence, and said, "But I already have a towel." He was genuinely puzzled as to why anyone would own more than one towel, since it gets cleaner every time you use it. Like a goat looking at a new fence. I vow to incorporate this into a sentence at least once this week. Met a cute girl and asked her for a date. This was pre-cell phone or GPS, so I asked her for directions. She state, "Go past the train track, take the second left, the third right, the second right then the second left and my house is the white one." Started at the train tracks, took her directions, and ended up in the middle of nowhere. Did this 3 times. So, just for shits, I started at the train tracks, everywhere she said left I turned right and where she had said right I turned left. Found her place on the first try. During the date, she also told me she wanted to be a veteran because she loved working with animals. When they tried to argue with me about whether babies can breathe underwater or not. Pro tip, they can't. Was it a genuine confusion over the diving reflex? Human babies are naturally good at being underwater. Or, like, babies must have gills because they are in the womb for 9 months. My Hispanic date said she would never marry a black guy because she didn't want to have Puerto Rican kids. Not sure if she's the idiot or her friend. She got a tattoo from her friend with the word angle on it. Obviously it was supposed to say angel. Maybe she wants to show off how cute she is. We had stopped by a gas station as I was taking her home from our first date. As we got done in line, she uses both hands to scoop out all of the change from the give a penny take a penny tray. She then dumped it in her purse and told the cashier, "Thanks for patronizing me." I was honestly struck silent with surprise until asking her outside why she'd done that. She then explained to me that she saw someone do it one time and thought, "Wow, that's what that's for." Apparently the cashier had said to her, "Thanks for patronizing me," after the guy nabbing the tray had left, and now she thought it was some kind of hack to get that change. She was very earnest, she really believed this. Then on our second date she said some terrible things to our waitress, and that was when I learned that you can still learn lessons from people who have life figured out even less than you do. You had a second date after that. When my ex decided to dine and dash but was stupid enough to leave his car in the parking lot of the place I picked him up from. Drove him back, took his wallet and made him pay the full tab and tipped the poor girl who was crying in the back $30. After moving in together. Me, your breath is kicking, go brush your teeth. Him, I don't brush on the weekends. He was 27. 27 years old and didn't brush his teeth on the weekends like a 5-year-old. I should have ran then instead of waiting a year. He thought the nation anthem started a Jose can you see? Ex of my best friend thought that a online cloud is located in the actual clouds and was really concerned about his data getting lost when it started raining. Dude was 19 and working in trades. She was complaining about money problems and then casually spent $2,000 on a lingerie photo shoot without telling me until after she already spent the money. This was the beginning of the end of our relationship. Oh, the other one that sticks out in my mind, I was driving and it was dark AF out. There weren't any lights around except for the headlights on my car, so she whips out her phone light and puts it up to the front windshield as if to help. I roasted her pretty hard for that one, but in hindsight, I should have seen that as a red flag. When she told me she doesn't tell me all kinds of stuff because she is afraid of manifesting negativity. Our relationship fell apart because I wanted to communicate and she wanted to remain silent and pretend everything is great. I was a senior in high school and started dating a boy my age who decided to drink almost an entire fifth of vodka on NYE and not let anyone know that he was a diabetic. He got really sick and threw up all over my friend's bathroom, to the point I had to call his parents and ask them to come pick him up. Thankfully his mom was super cool about the whole thing and showed up right away to get him. As if this wasn't bad enough, while using his phone to find his mom's number, he got a notification from some other girl who was actively sending nudes to him. I'm not usually one to snoop, but there was unmistakably some other girl's tits on the notification. So not only did he make poor choices with his health, but he didn't respect me either. After he left, I stayed up until almost 6 in the morning cleaning my friend's bathroom because I was so embarrassed I brought that mess to their house. Then, when the man of the hour woke up and texted me the next day as if nothing happened, I invited him over and broke up with him at my front door. We were walking together in a park when an older lady with a small dog passed by, and she, inquiring about the dog, asked the owner, "Is that a Belgian waffle?" I laughed my ass off and thought it was the funniest joke I had ever heard until I realized she was entirely straight-faced. She became more and more insistent that we didn't need to use condoms. Potential for STIs aside, I asked her how we would keep from getting pregnant. She said she just knew when she was ovulating and would tell me when it wasn't safe. That was all the red flag I needed to break up with her. A couple years later, out of curiosity, I looked her up online and she had become a single mom. The first time he stayed the night, I heard him talking to his friend on the phone the next morning. This was before texting, and he said, "Hey man, guess what this girl has, like, books and shit." We were eating curry and we got talking about rice. She didn't believe that a rice plant produced more than 1 grain. Now that would be an incredible amount of rice plants just for our meal got her to start thinking she might be wrong.